What does success look like to you? And maybe you can even try to look at other people's successes and try to emulate that or apply that to your definition of what success is going to look like. Like I said, when people talk about success, we do not all have the same definition. When I speak out of success, I'm only speaking out of my own personal paradigm, my own personal um, discovery of what it looks like for myself. So I'm not speaking when like I said, when somebody speaks about success, they're speaking about it specifically, hopefully specifically for you, but usually they're speaking it from their own paradigm. But essentially, what I'm trying to do is trying to get you guys to think, right? What is your definition of success? That's what you must analyze first and foremost. Like I said, I have a previous podcast. If you're struggling with that and maybe need a little guidance with that, like I said, I'd recommend that podcast for you for sure. I can't remember what number it is. I've done 176 of these, so I can't remember specifically what number it is, but it's within my last 10 for sure. So check with that for sure. But essentially, the message that I'm trying to portray today is this, right? Success is going to look different for every single person, and along with that, I believe that it's going to look vibrationally, it's going to feel vibrationally different than what most people's success is going to look like. So yours individual, if I'm speaking to you right now, right? You must figure out your own vibration that will inevitably lead you down the path that you want to go, which is your success, right? Whatever that looks like to you. So you must find things that truly align with you, vibrationally speaking, align with you. I'm not trying to speak on this like this like mystical version of vibrations. Obviously, if you know anything about the universe, you know anything about the world, you understand that everything's a vibration. Everything that you choose to consume is a certain vibration, right? Everything that you decide to do is going to put you at a vibration, right? There's a lot of things that can influence your vibration. So you must be very, very careful with this, of course. So for me personally, the way that I figured this out best, like I said, because I figured out my own vibration is by trying to listen to my own personal vocation, and I'm gonna explain that. I'm gonna explain that for the people that don't understand that, and I don't expect most people to understand that. But essentially, it is the voice within. It is the guiding factor that is essentially going to tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Right? Some people ignore this. Some people don't even have it because they've ignored it for so long. So you have to figure this out for yourself, right? There's going to be things that you truly feel deep down in your heart, right, or deep down in your soul, that these things align with what you need to do and what you feel like you're meant to do, right? And like I said, for me personally, it is essentially was the guilt of my potential calling me to action, right? So if I decided to defy this in a specific way, my own self would be kicking my own ass essentially, right? And this is going to look different for every single person. And this is let me go ahead and mention this real quick. So this is a concept that I've heard a lot of people talk about, but the most popular version of this would be in the Book of Mastery by Robert Greene. Like I said, it is what people would call the hidden force, or what Robert Greene called the hidden force. Essentially, it was it was like I said, for me, it was like I said, the potential my potential self calling me to action, right? It would tell me if I'm headed down the right path and if I'm also headed down the wrong path. And if I'm headed down the wrong path, it would suggest for me to correct, or I would have to deal with the consequences of rejecting my potential. And obviously, if I'm a person who is aligning with that, vibrationally speaking, aligning with what my potential is telling me to go ahead and do, the path that it's telling me to go ahead and go forth with, it will also reward me for proving who I am to myself, who I say I am to myself. It is me proving who I am who I am that I say to myself, right? Like I said, some call it a voice, some call it a force, some call it even a star or even a daemon, which is a daemon is an inner or attendant spirit or inspiring force within, of course. But essentially, this is the guiding force that should influence you to make a certain decision or for you to not make a certain decision, right? And with that being said, this is essentially what I would define to be your vibration. Your vibration should tell you when things are off, and when things are more importantly on. And I feel like a lot of people they get caught up with society and their environments and little things like that truly can misguide them, right? A lot of people are misguided. A lot of people don't know what they want. A lot of people lack the clarity, and this is why I have this podcast, right? But I want to reemphasize the fact that there is a consequence, not only for me but for you, when you decide to not listen to your vocation, right? Or like I said, a guiding force, or whatever you want to call it for yourself, right? If you constantly don't don't give that enough respect, and you constantly say, it doesn't matter, right? And of course you're doing this all internally speaking, right? Hopefully, if you reject it, you should eventually feel some type of guilt. And like I said, life isn't meant to go the way that you want it to go when you start rejecting this. There will be things and obstacles that come your way intentionally because you decided to not go ahead and go forth with that. Because you decided to go ahead and reject your potential calling. Like I said, I'm only speaking from my paradigm, but hopefully you can apply that to what you have going on within your life, right? And of course, like I had mentioned earlier, right? You can be naturally inclined to reject it based off of your environmental circumstances. So this might be people, this might be society. Like I said, this might be your environment, but at the end of the day, it is what we would call a counterforce. So with a counterforce, obviously you need to be very very aware of what this is going to look like for you, right? So like I said, maybe you're doing something right now that doesn't exactly align with who you want to be, but you keep doing it because it is alluring, because it is comfortable, because it is safe, right? You keep doing these things, and like I said, even though it does give you some temporary amount of comfort, deep down that's probably not something that you should be doing, right? That is essentially the vocation. That is essentially the hidden force within, that should lead you down the path that you want to go ahead and go. And also, like I said, if you decide to go ahead and deter from that path, it should allow you to go ahead and hopefully fill you with guilt for not doing the things that you go ahead and do. And like I said, there's a lot of people right now, and I'm sure you know people within your life who have rejected this, and they live in a perpetual state of suffering to an extent. And like I said, even some people are very very good at masking this version of suffering, but nonetheless they're suffering. You can see very very well that they're not living the life that they want to go ahead and live. They much rather be doing and spending their time doing other things, but instead they're not. Like I said, they've rejected this time and time again, and therefore their circumstances would exactly provide you with the evidence that you would need to suggest that they are a person who has rejected what they've been called to do, or rejected, um, I guess, yeah, essentially what they're called to do. But with that being said, right? Like I said, there's going to be people, there's going to be environments, there's going to be circumstances that come up in life. Like I said, society are all going to are all going to be a counterforce, um, a contributing thing that's going to push you away from what you're meant to do, right? You must be very very aware of these things, and you must be able to observe society or observe people, observe society, observe situations from a broader perspective, and say, is this aligned? Is what this person's saying aligned with what I want? Is who I want to be and what I would like to be like? The vibration, more importantly, the vibration that I would like to go ahead and vibrate at. So, with that being said, ask yourself the question. Maybe you're doing things. Maybe you're doing things that no longer serve you. Right? This is going to be what a lot of people do. A lot of people do things that maybe vibrationally speaking, it was aligned with them at one point in time, but no longer is aligned with them. They no longer it no longer serves a purpose within your life to continue to do these things, but you still do them because it's a comfortable thing. But little do you know, you're lowering your vibration, right? You could be vibrating at a higher frequency, but instead you decide to go with what's comfortable, and eventually, like anyone who's done any research on any success, obviously comfort is the enemy. Comfort is the enemy. You're in this life. You're not meant to be comfortable, right? And if anything, if you the more uncomfortable you are, potentially the higher your calling is, right? But you must stray away from being comfortable. And of course, there's going to be situations where you would like to be comfortable. And I'm not saying always be uncomfortable. 99% of your day you need to be uncomfortable. I'm not saying that. I'm saying uncomfortable to the point where you're on the edge of your seat of life, right? Where you don't know exactly what's going to happen next, and you're excited to see the result of what your actions could dictate, right? For the good or for the bad, right? But nonetheless, I want to kind of reemphasize what I mean by figure out your own vibration, because like I said, I've been slightly broad when I've been discussing this, right? Essentially, there are certain things that you'll naturally be attracted to, right? This is through my own personal perception I'm speaking out of, but this is something that I think can apply to many different people. So maybe this would be a certain type of music that you're interested in, right? For me personally, it's a certain type of artists that I'm actually drawn to, that I can see that the message that they're portraying is aligned with what I'm trying to do within my life, right? Vibrationally speaking, aligned with where I want to go and where I want to be. So therefore, I I I find affinity towards those certain types of music, right? So for example, right, my greatest example is my favorite artist, Big Sean. A lot of people do not understand his music because a lot of people do not vibrate at the frequency in which me and him go ahead and vibrate at. With that being said, like I said, it can be all telling, right? If you observe somebody's behavior, you can tell whether they're on a high vibration or not based off of what they do, what their inputs are, who they surround themselves with, whether they believe society or whether they don't believe society. You can tell a lot of different things about a person based off of certain actions and certain things that they go ahead and do, right? With that being said, there's going to be a lot more than just music that you're going to naturally be inclined to go ahead and be attracted to. So maybe this will be a certain creator. So maybe there's a certain person that you like that is in a position that you would like to be in, right? That would be you somewhat being attracted to that, vibrationally speaking, right? Or maybe this will be a certain type of information, or maybe this would be a certain type of curiosity that you have for any interest that you have. So maybe there's something there, right? Or maybe this could be some type of knowledge that you've always been interested in and you always want to go ahead and seek more of, right? These are things that we need to pay attention to as we are naturally inclined to go forth with these things. And like I said, the more that you can align and attach yourself to these certain things, the better off you're going to be vibrationally speaking. You're going to be more able to attract the things that you want within this life if you're able to vibrate at their frequency, but you must be very, very aware of what that looks like for you. Because, like I had mentioned, it's going to look different for every single person, right? Some people are going to understand certain things, and some people aren't going to understand certain things based off of that, right? But I feel like a lot of people they get caught up within society. They get caught up within their environment, and of course, everybody's a victim of society, and everybody's a victim of their environment to an extent. But you have the ability to control and overcorrect what has been written wrong, right? So like I said, maybe society has convinced you of something, but you deep down are a little bit skeptical, and maybe you're even doubting yourself of something that you should do, or maybe you shouldn't do, right? That is something that I feel like a lot of people need to pay attention to. Those little slight inclinations that you have, the little bit of resistance that you have, can be all telling. But yet, like I said, society is going to try to condition you a certain way, right? Environment and people are going to try to condition you a certain way. But you must be in tune with what you want, and obviously that takes a lot of clarity and a lot of self-analysis, of course. But you must be clear with what you want and what you align with, right? A lot of people don't know what to align with, so therefore they find things that aren't exactly aligned to where they want to go, because maybe they don't even know where they want to go, right? So they're kind of being misguided, like I had mentioned, right?